Hello, my dear friends, and welcome back to Orcacy Corner, where stories come alive in the softest whispers and the gentlest words. Tonight I have something truly magical to share with you. A tale from long ago that has been passed down through generations and tucked into the dreams of countless sleepers. This is a story the brothers Grimm collected from the folklore of old Europe, and it speaks of mystery and enchantment and the kind of wonder that makes you believe in impossible things. So settle yourself deeper into your blankets and let your shoulders drop and allow your breathing to slow as we journey together into a world where princesses dance through the night and secrets hide behind locked doors. Tonight we tell the story of the 12 dancing princesses. Let the world outside fade away as we begin. Once upon a time in a kingdom where the mountains touched the clouds and the forests grew thick with ancient trees, there lived a king who had 12 daughters. Each one was more beautiful than the last. And they ranged in age, from the eldest who was wise and graceful to the youngest who still had the joy of childhood sparkling in her eyes. The king loved his daughters dearly and gave them everything their hearts could desire. Their rooms were filled with the finest things, and their wardrobes overflowed with gowns of silk and velvet in every color you could imagine. But there was one mystery that troubled the king deeply and kept him awake through the long hours of the night. Every morning when the princesses emerged from their shared bedchamber, the king would find their dancing slippers worn completely. The satin would be tattered, and the soles would be full of holes as if they had danced for hours and hours upon hours. Now the king kept their bedroom door locked every single night with his own hands, and he held the only key. The windows were barred and guards stood watch in the corridors. Yet still every morning, without fail, the slippers were destroyed. The king asked his daughters again and again where they went and how they wore through their shoes, but the princesses would only smile mysterious smiles and say nothing at all. Their silence only deepened the mystery. The king grew so desperate to solve this puzzle that he made a proclamation throughout the land. Any man who could discover where the princesses danced at night would be allowed to choose one of them as his bride and would inherit the kingdom when the king passed on. But if a suitor tried and failed after 3 nights, he would forfeit his life. It was a dangerous challenge, but the reward was great, and soon princes and noblemen came from far and wide to attempt the task. The first to try was a handsome prince. From a neighboring realm, the king welcomed him and explained the rules. Each night the prince would be placed in an antechamber connected to the princess's bedroom with the door left open, so he could watch and see if they left. The eldest princess herself brought the prince a cup of wine to refresh him before his watch began. She smiled sweetly as she offered it, and the prince drank it down gladly. But the wine had been drugged with a powerful sleeping potion, and within moments his eyelids grew heavy and he fell into a deep slumber. While he snored softly, the 12 princesses rose from their beds and opened their wardrobes and dressed themselves in their most magnificent ball gowns. They laughed quietly among themselves and put on fresh slippers and made themselves beautiful. The eldest sister went to her bed and knocked upon it 3 times, and immediately the bed sank down into the floor, revealing a secret staircase that spiraled down into darkness. One by one, the princesses descended, holding candles that flickered in the underground air. Down and down they went, through passages carved from stone, until they emerged into a wondrous world beneath the earth. First, They passed through a grove where all the trees had leaves of pure silver that chimed and whispered as the princesses brushed past them. Then they entered a second forest, where the leaves were made of glittering gold that caught the light of their candles and threw dancing shadows all round. Finally they came to a third grove, where the trees bore leaves of diamonds that sparkled like stars and sang with a crystalline music all their own. Beyond this final forest lay an underground lake as smooth as glass, and upon its shore waited 12 boats, and in each boat sat a prince from the enchanted realm below. These were not mortal princes, but spirits of that magical place, and they greeted the 12 sisters with joy. Each princess stepped into a boat with her chosen prince, and the boats glided across the dark water toward a castle that rose from an island in the center of the lake. The castle was lit with thousands of candles, and music poured from its windows. Inside, a grand ball was taking place, and the princesses danced and danced and danced until their slippers were worn to ribbons. They whirled through waltzes and spun through reels and lost themselves completely in the joy of the music and the movement. Only when the clock struck 3 did they finally return to the boats and make their way back through the diamond forest and the golden forest and the silver forest. They climbed the secret stairs and emerged once more in their bedroom, where the prince still slept soundly in his chair. Quickly they changed into their nightgowns and climbed into their beds and hid their ruined slippers beneath the covers. In the morning the prince woke with a start and realized he had learned nothing. The same thing happened the second night and the third night, and so the prince lost his head as the king's proclamation had warned. Many others tried after him, and all met the same fate, for the eldest princess gave each one the drugged wine, and each one fell asleep and learned nothing of the secret. After a time, fewer suitors came, for word had spread of how dangerous the challenge was. Now in that same kingdom there lived a poor soldier who had been wounded in war and could no longer serve in the army. He was making his way through the forest near the capital when he met an old woman gathering sticks. Being a kind man, he stopped to help her, and as they talked she asked him where he was going. The soldier said he did not rightly know, but joked that perhaps he would solve the mystery of the dancing princesses and become king. The old woman did not laugh, but looked at him with eyes that seemed to see right through to his soul. She told him she would help him and gave him a cloak. "This is a cloak of invisibility," she said, "and when you wear it, no one will be able to see you." She also warned him not to drink any wine the princesses offered him, but to only pretend to drink and then to feign sleep. The soldier thanked her and took the cloak and made his way to the palace. The king received him, though without much hope, for so many had failed before. That evening the soldier was placed in the antechamber as all the others had been, and sure enough the eldest princess brought him a cup of wine, but the soldier had tucked a sponge beneath his chin, and when he raised the cup to his lips, he let the wine soak into the sponge instead of swallowing it. Then he lay back in his chair and began to snore loudly, as if he had fallen into the deepest sleep. The princesses listened, and when they were certain he slumbered, they rose and dressed in their finery. The soldier watched through half-closed eyes, and as soon as they knocked on the bed and it sank into the floor, he threw the magic cloak around his shoulders and became invisible. He followed them down the secret stairs, staying close behind the youngest princess. In his haste, he stepped on the hem of her gown, and she cried out that someone had caught her dress, but her sisters told her she must have snagged it on a nail. Down through the silver forest they went, and the soldier broke off a small twig to keep as proof. The sound made the youngest princess turn and say that something was wrong, but again her sisters dismissed her fears. The same thing happened in the golden forest and the diamond forest. Each time the soldier took a small branch, and each time the youngest princess felt that something was amiss, but her sisters paid no attention. The soldier stepped into the boat with the youngest princess and her prince, and though the boat rode lower in the water than usual, the prince only remarked that he must be tired from rowing. Across the lake they went and into the castle and all. Through the night the soldier watched the princesses dance. He himself took refreshment from the tables, and even drank from the cup of the youngest princess, though she could not see him. When the time came to return, he ran ahead and reached the bedroom first, and lay back down in his chair. The princesses returned and saw him snoring, and believed they were safe. The soldier said nothing the next morning when the king asked what he had learned. He wanted to be completely certain, so he followed them again the second night and the third night. On the final night, he took a golden cup from the castle as additional proof. On the morning after the third night, the king summoned the soldier and asked him to reveal the secret. The soldier came forward with the 3 branches and the golden cup and told the king everything he had seen. He described the 3 forests, burned the underground lake and the castle and the 12 princes and the dancing that lasted until dawn. The king sent for his daughters and asked them if what the soldier said was true. Seeing that their secret had been discovered at last, the princesses confessed everything. The king then asked the soldier which of the princesses he would choose as his bride. The soldier thought for a moment and said that he was no longer young himself, and so he would choose the eldest princess, for she had wisdom to match his experience. The wedding was celebrated with great joy, and when the old king eventually passed on, the soldier became king and ruled wisely and well. As for the enchanted realm beneath the earth, the staircase was sealed, and the dancing princesses danced only at mortal balls from that day forward, and their slippers lasted much, much longer. And so our story comes to its end, just as all things must in their own time. The 12 princesses found their rest, and now it is time for you to find yours. Let the images of silver and gold and diamond trees drift through your mind like gentle dreams. Feel yourself becoming heavy and soft and peaceful. There is nothing you need to do now, and nowhere you need to be. The night is here to hold you safely, and the darkness is a friend that brings you comfort. Let your breathing deepen and slow. Let every muscle release its tension. You are safe and warm and cared for. Tomorrow will come in its own time, but for now there is only this moment of perfect peace. May your dreams be filled with wonder and magic. May you sleep deeply and wake refreshed. Thank you for spending this time with me in our cozy corner of stories. Good night, my dear friend. Sleep well.
Thank you.